It was amazing. I remember it like it was yesterday. It was November 9th of 2002. My lifelong dream was to play professional football, and on this day I was 95 yards short of breaking our school record for yards in a career. And the vision, everything that I had been working toward my entire life was right there. I could feel it, I could taste it, I could touch it. And I was really just crushing it my senior year. And on this run play, my job was to block the defender that was standing in front of me to prevent him from tackling the running back that was coming from behind me. And all of a sudden I plant my right leg to give one last thrust, and the running back got tackled from behind, and both of them come crashing down on my leg. And I got up and I knew something happened. I reached down to grab my leg, and I felt the bone shift in my leg, and I crumbled to the ground, and I knew it was over. And the trainer came and got me off the ground and took me to the sideline and took off my shoe, took off my sock, and unraveled the tape on my leg. And I looked down to see, my leg was just sort of dangling there. And I looked at the trainer because I needed some sort of confirmation, and he looks me dead in the eye. He says, "Sorry, George, it's over." And I feel the emotion of it to this day, because imagine having a lifelong vision for your life, and in an instant, it's gone. And so they put me in an air boot, an air cast, to stabilize the brake as much as they could. And they started carting me off the field, and all of a sudden I hear these huge cheers from our crowd. And so I look over to the football field, because I just had assumed that maybe we scored a touchdown or had a big play. And everybody on the field is looking at me, clapping their hands. And then I look up to our crowd, 6,000-7,000 people, and they're sending me off in this standing ovation. And it was the most bitter sweet moment of my life, because everything that I had been working toward in my life had come to an end, and I was being cheered off by these loyal fans that have watched me, come up through the ranks over the years. After that, I fell into a really deep state of depression, because everything that I had been working for was gone. And fortunately, I had developed enough classroom activity at the University of Northern Colorado to graduate with a communication degree. And I moved to Denver, Colorado, because I just assumed there was more opportunity there. I joined a fast-growing technology and sales company, and within 6 months, I had worked my tail off, because I had this I feel like I needed to prove that I could be successful. So within 6 months, I worked my butt off and got into a management position, and I started teaching and training people and developing people professionally and personally, and I got really hooked to that. I loved it, but at the same time, I hated my bosses at the time. So after about 2.5 years of loving what I was doing with training people, developing people, and at the same time hating my bosses, feeling like I had to protect my team from these horrible managers that I was working for, I fell into an even deeper state of depression. One morning, I remember it was early of 2005, January 2005. I woke up in this funk, and I just kind of like all this pressure had built up over time. And I remember just crying my eyes out, because I just felt like I was aimless, I was purposeless. And I started asking some big questions as I was sitting there crying. I was like, what am I, what's my purpose? Why am I here? And a week later, I found myself in the Denver Public Library searching for hope, searching for something that would help alleviate this pain and this emptiness that I was feeling. And I remember going up to the second level of the library and reading this whole section. It said personal development. And I went over to the section. I started, tilted my head like this and started reading the spines of the books. And I ran across this one book, and it said Unlimited Power by Anthony Robbins. And I was just thinking to myself, unlimited power, it's something I can use right about now. So I pull off the book of the shelf and I start reading the pages. And you've probably had that experience where you read a book and you just get chills. So I started reading the information, this empowering information in this book, and I thought, whoa. In my 25 years of being on planet Earth, I had never come across information like this. And so this was January of 2005, and I got really inspired. And so over the next 30 days, I went on this crazy media fast. I stopped listening to music, I stopped watching television, and I would just plug into my mind this personal and development information, Tony Robbins and Psycho-Cybernetics, Think and Grow Rich, Dale Carnegie, anything that I get my hands on that would help me become a better person and help me get beyond these feelings of emptiness that I was feeling. I was just in search for. So I'd go get audio programs, plug them into my car as I was driving. After 30 days, I felt myself coming out of this place of feeling like I was depressed. And so I go back to work and I give my 2 weeks notice. I was like, all right, I'm done here. These are my last 2 weeks. And in those 2 weeks, I wasn't teaching what I was supposed to be teaching and training, which was technology and sales techniques. I was teaching what I was learning out of these books, becoming fearless and breaking through patterns and taking control of your own thoughts and stepping into more courage. And as I was teaching these things, my reps, they kind of thought I went crazy, and I kind of did. It was nuts. I got evangelical on them. And I remember on my last day, I had 3 of my reps come up to me and they said, "Hey, George, you should be a motivational speaker. You should be a motivational speaker. You should be a motivational speaker." And the third time I heard it, and I don't know what your spiritual or religious beliefs are, but I do believe that the universe or God or the Creator communicates to us in a lot of different ways, and in a lot of cases, it's through other people. And so the third time, man, it clicked. And I had just finished reading this book called Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. So I resigned from the job, and I read this book called Psycho-Cybernetics. Talks about the power of visualization to increase your own self-worth, step into a greater version of you, and really create your reality based on using these powerful visualizations. So every morning I would go into, a 5-minute sort of theater of my mind, and I would imagine myself in front of audiences. I would imagine myself speaking, inspiring, uplifting, and empowering people. And I would hear the sounds of the crowd cheering or the interaction between me and the audience. I would imagine the venue and see all the people, and I can see it so clearly to this day. And I had no idea how I was going to go from, depressed corporate manager over to motivational speaker, but I just knew that if I held the vision and I took the inspired action that would show up, that I could eventually live into those visions. And within 3.5 years, I'd started a speaking and a training and a coaching business. And that was the beginning of my professional career as an entrepreneur. But those 3.5 years, that's what made the difference. That's what helped me create this idea, this possibility of being a motivational speaker and actually becoming a motivational speaker, where now I get to travel around the world, or not travel around the world, but travel around the country. And I do have clients, coaching clients all over the world, but I get to travel around the country and speak with large audiences and even smaller audiences, and just teach what I've learned along the way. But the key was that 3.5 years, and I still use it to this day. Visualization is a huge part of my process. And my yearly event, The Greatest Year of Your Life 2016, this is a process that I teach people how to use the power of visualization. And we spend half the day creating vision boards where I bring the boards, I bring the magazines, I bring the glue sticks, I bring the scissors, you bring your vision, and we make it real on the vision board, and you leave with a completed vision board. And it's so inspiring. People leave there with this new vision for their life of what's possible. And this is only the first half of day one. The second half of day one, we get into, okay, what values are important for me to line up to my vision? What old values are no longer valid, and what new values can I take on and embody so that I can move toward my visions and my dreams, my goals, and my targets with a ferocity, a joyful ferocity, an unstoppable ferocity, that 2016 becomes the greatest year of my life. In those 3.5 years, I would sit down and I would imagine myself, I would see it, I would feel it, I would envision it, I would embody it. And I visualized in so many ways that over the course of time, your brain doesn't know the difference between something that you vividly imagine and something that you're actually experiencing. And so when you imagine over and over and over again this reality that you would like to create, your brain begins to think over time that it's real. And as it does, it starts to bring in the data, the information, the people, the circumstances, the events that reflect the internal vision that you have. The conversations start to reflect the internal vision that you have. You'll run into somebody that can help you with the next step on your journey. You'll read another book, you'll go to a seminar, you'll get an audio program, you'll find a mentor, and all of a sudden, this vision that you have inside begins to become real on the outside. And over the course of time, the internal vision matches the external vision, and that's the power of creating an unstoppable vision. So if you're ready to make this year, 2016, this upcoming year, the greatest year of your life, you want to make sure that you attend the 3-day event coming up January 8th, 9th, and 10th in Denver, Colorado. I look forward to seeing you there.